Problem 9. F is defined by the following. For all real numbers x, where that r floor of r denotes the greatest integer less than or equal to the real number r, what is the range of f? Well, the range of f, just plug in different x's, right? I don't think this would be too bad. I think we just plug in values, right? Let's just try it out. So, how many different types of real number x's are there, right? That's what we need to understand. Well, there's first of all positive decimals, right? Decies. Then there's positive whole numbers, right? But then there's negative decimals, and then there are negative whole numbers. These are the only types of real numbers that exist. So if we can plug in each type and see what the values give, then we can find the range. So what is considered a positive decimal? Well, let's consider 3.14 for pi. So if we plug in this simplified version of pi, then f of pi will be equal to the floor of 3.14, right, minus the absolute value of the floor of 3.14. So what is this? Well, that is 3.14 floor, so that becomes 3. And this right here, what does that become? Well, that becomes 3. So 3 minus 3 gives 0. So we have 0 within the range. So let's put 0 right here. Now we have this checked off. I'll do this in green now. What is considered a positive whole number? Well, let's just do 3. F of 3 will be equal to the absolute value of the floor of 3 minus the absolute value. This would be the absolute value of the floor of the absolute value, and this is the absolute value of the floor. So that's equal to 0, obviously. So we have 0 again. So we are done with that. Let's consider the next one, which is a negative decimal. What is considered a negative decimal? Well, let's do negative 3.14. That is the floor of negative 3.14, right? Yeah, that's an absolute value, minus the absolute value of the floor of negative 3.14. Alright, negatives are a bit special, but first let's consider this one. This one right here will just be equal to 3. But what is this one? Well, we have to understand that for negative numbers, like negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, what is the floor defined by? The floor is defined by the greatest integer, less than or equal to, right, to the real number r. So if we were to have negative 3.14 and we want to take the floor of that, well, we have to find a number that's greater than it, right? The greatest integer less than or equal to. Well, that means that it has to be negative 4, or actually negative 3, right? So yeah, negative 3 has to become negative 4, correct? It cannot go up, because if we do that, that's larger, right? We always round down. Just think of this as rounding down. So if we were to round negative 3.14 down, the rounded down number must be less than negative 3. So that means this becomes negative 4. So that becomes 4. So 3 minus 4 gets negative 1. So we have negative 1 right here. That's just the key trick, right? Remember, rounding down always gives a number that's less than it. So if we round down a negative number, it must be less than negative 3, which is negative 4. So that's why you have that. And you can think of it too, right? Because negative 3.14 is like right here. So obviously you have to go down to negative 4. Now, moving on with a negative whole number, well, negative 3, obviously, that's not going to be any different. That's going to be 3, right? Negative 3 minus 4, which is negative 1 again. So we have 0 and negative 1. That's all the possible numbers, because that's the result from all possible real numbers. So your final answer would be answer choice A.